They say love comes when you least expect it. So what if it comes in a moment so quiet, you almost missed it? And what if the stranger you bumped into today is the one person fate has been saving just for you? Jasper did not arrive with roses or promises. He came like a soft breeze on a heavy day, unannounced and unexpected. It was as if the universe had planned for him and Savannah to meet up, and when it happened, it was enough for the two lonely hearts to whisper, "I know you." Thereafter, Savannah and Jasper didn't just find each other. They found healing, purpose, and a beautiful home built with love. Because love, real love, is about who you choose to become together. You are welcome to my channel where every story touches the heart, brings a smile to your soul, and reminds you of the beauty of kindness, love, and hope. Do enjoy the story.
Savannah Blake stood beside her broken-down truck, staring at the smoke coming from the engine. She didn't know what to do next. The road was quiet, the sun hot, and she felt completely stuck. Then, out of nowhere, she heard a voice behind her. "You look like you could use a miracle or a mechanic." Savannah jumped, almost dropping the wrench in her hand. She turned quickly and saw a man on a horse pulling up beside her. Her phone was dead and she was 10 miles from the ranch. She was stranded. Track overheated. Or maybe the alternator. "I'm no expert. Mind if I take a look?" he asked. She nodded, eyeing him cautiously as he dismounted. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a calm, confident look. His dark hair peeked out from under a weathered cowboy hat, and his eyes were sharp, kind, and steady. He had a rugged, handsome face, like someone out of a movie, and wore a faded denim shirt that made him look right at home under the big sky. Savannah blinked, trying to take in the sight. For a moment, she forgot about the truck, the heat, even the smoke curling from the engine. "Well," she said slowly, gripping the wrench tighter, "I guess that depends on which one you're offering." The man gave a small, crooked smile that made him even more handsome. "I left my miracle kit back at the last ghost town," he said, sliding off his horse with ease. "But I'm pretty decent with engines and horses, if that ever comes in handy." He walked toward the truck, calm and unbothered, like rescuing strangers in the middle of nowhere was just another part of his day. Savannah wasn't sure whether to laugh, be cautious, or simply let this stranger help. "I'm Savannah," she said, watching him crouch beside the open hood. "Nice to meet you, Savannah," he replied without looking up. "I'm Colton. Let's see what we've got here." As he leaned in to check the engine, a breeze picked up, rustling the grass and lifting her hair gently around her face. For the first time that day, she felt the tension in her shoulders begin to ease. She didn't know who this man was or why he seemed like someone straight out of a dream. But somehow, her bad day had just taken a turn she couldn't explain. Colton worked quietly, focused on the engine like someone who'd done this 1,000 times. His hands moved with confidence, not rushed but sure. Savannah watched him, still trying to figure him out. He didn't look like a mechanic or a traveler. There was something different about him, something calm and grounded, like he carried the whole world on his shoulders but never let it show. "So, do you live around here?" she asked carefully. He gave a short nod, wiping his hands on a cloth from his saddlebag. "You could say that." That was all he said. No details, no explanation. Savannah waited, but he didn't offer more, and she didn't want to push. He had this quiet strength about him, like someone who didn't talk much, but noticed everything. In truth, Colton Hale owned half the city just beyond the hills. Hotels, ranches, even a chain of repair shops, one of which she unknowingly passed on her way down this very road. But he never introduced himself as the man behind the empire. He preferred moments like this, away from boardrooms and suits, where people treated him like a regular guy. To Savannah, he was just a stranger with a horse and a helping hand. "Try starting it now," he said, stepping back. She got in and turned the key. The engine coughed, then tried to roar to life, but didn't succeed. He leaned into the engine like it was second nature, wiped the hose clean, checked the belt. "You from around here?" she asked, more to fill the space than anything. "Close enough to smell it, far enough not to belong." The answer settled over her like dust. After 20 minutes, he straightened and said, "Radiators is the issue. She'll need a tow." "I figured," Savannah said inside. "My ranch is 10 miles west. I've got a trailer and another truck. If you help me hitch it, I'll feed you." Colton tipped his hat and said, "Deal?" "Yes, a deal," Savannah responded. They walked silently. When she tried to walk the path back, he insisted she ride. She climbed up behind him, her fingers accidentally brushing the back of his coat. His silence was steady. When they reached her land, the old wooden sign greeted them, Briar Ridge Ranch. 1980. Porch lights glowed like embers. Horses lifted their heads in the field, but didn't stir. You any good with tools? She asked as they unloaded her things. Depends on the job. I've got a busted gate and a roof that won't stop leaking. I can stick around a few days, he said. I'm not too busy right now. Then I'll move on. That night, she made stew and cornbread. He sat across from her, freshly showered, but still in worn clothes. He ate like someone who knew hunger, but not the kind you feed with food. You ever settle anywhere? She asked softly. He shook his head. Not in a long time. I'm not running from anything, just running toward peace. She blinked. That answer sat heavy in her chest. Later, she offered him the bunkhouse. He thanked her and walked out into the moonlight. She locked the door behind him, her heart restless. There's something about him, she whispered to herself. Quiet, but carrying a storm. Just before dawn, the horses screamed. Savannah grabbed the rifle and ran toward the barn. She saw 3 men. One was already inside. One of the doors ripped of its hinge. She raised her gun but froze at the figure slicing through the shadows. Colton. He moved like no ranch hand ever could. One man slammed into a post. Another doubled over from a single punch. The third man fled. Within seconds, the barn was quiet again. Horses were shaken but safe. You okay? Savannah asked, panting. He nodded, breath even, and said, it should have been a better question for them. She stared at him. Who are you? He looked at her, steady and unreadable. I'm just Colton, he said. But she didn't believe it anymore. The next day, he fixed the barn door, reinforced the stalls, and repaired the feed shed. He worked like a man who'd done it all before, like muscle memory and duty stitched together. You ever learn to fight like that in a bar? She teased, arms folded. He looked up, water dripping from his brow. Not exactly, he responded. You move like someone that was trained, Savannah said. Maybe, Colton replied. Do you trust me enough to stay here? She asked, stepping closer. But why can't you tell me who you really are? His eyes met hers. You trust me enough to ask? He asked. She paused. You're hiding something, Savannah responded. Sometimes people lose things, he said, and they don't want to talk about them. And just like that, her walls didn't feel so tall. Over the next few days, he became part of the ranch, fixing, feeding, calming her most stubborn mare with a whistle. But his past stayed locked behind guarded eyes. Until the day Savannah found his wallet. She did not feel comfortable going through his wallet and invading his privacy, but curiosity pushed her. Inside the wallet were papers, deeds, legal forms, and one envelope. J.L. Callahan. Her hands trembled. That name. She remembered it from years ago. Jasper Alec Callahan. The man who built an empire from oil and land. The one who vanished after his fiancée died. Rumors of scandal and fake death. And now, he was here, living in her bunkhouse, fixing her fences. She confronted him near the pasture. He didn't run, and he did not deny it. You found it, he said. You let me trust you. You let me believe. I never asked you to, he said gently. But you knew I did. I didn't want to be him anymore, he whispered. I just wanted to be someone who could still be useful, still be seen. You said you were running toward peace, she said bitterly. But you were still running. I know, he whispered. She turned away. Tears burned her eyes. I don't care who you were, but I cared about who I thought you were, Savannah said. I'm still him, he said. She didn't look back. The next day, Savannah left before sunrise. No note, no explanation, just silence. The kind that speaks louder than anger. She didn't even pack much, just a duffel bag and her spare Trek keys. The documents she'd found sat untouched on the kitchen table like a quiet betrayal. She needed air, distance, something that wasn't him. Because Colton, Jasper, whoever he really was, wasn't just a man with a past. He was a man who had rewritten his life and let her believe the first draft never existed. At the edge of town, she booked a small room at the Dusty Pines Motel. The walls were thin, the bed creaked, but the silence inside was heavier than anything she'd left behind. She stepped out of her hotel room for fresh air, and then she heard her name on the street. Savannah, have you seen the news? It was old Mr. Wilkins from the feed store. He handed her a wrinkled newspaper. It was written, Eastland Developments expands footprint. Local families pressure to sell. Her stomach dropped. The man in the article, Reed Eastland, was her ex. The polished predator in a tailored suit was doing exactly what he'd threatened. Every ranch, every field, every patch of dirt with history gone. With one sentence at the bottom, everything clicked. Development to begin in 3 months at the south bend of Briar Ridge. Her home. Suddenly, she saw the whole board, the sabotage, the break-in, the pressure. Her ex, Reed, hadn't just wanted her land. He wanted it empty, and defeated, and she had just made a great mistake by walking away from the one man who could have stopped him.
At dawn, she drove back. The gate creaked as she pushed it open. Dust curled behind her tires. And yet, it felt like coming home. She found him in the barn, brushing down one of the colts like nothing had shattered between them. He turned when he felt her presence. He was not surprised and was not angry. He had just been waiting for her return. "I saw the article," she said. He nodded. "He's moving faster than we thought," he responded. She stepped closer and said, "I walked away." "I know," he responded. She looked at him and said, "I didn't come back for apologies or explanations." He looked at her. "Then why did you?" She swallowed. "Because I need you." The words felt raw, but true. "I don't just need Colton. I need Jasper Callahan, the man who built half the city, the man who can stop Reed before he burns it all down." His voice was quiet. "Are you sure?" "I'm not sure of anything," she admitted, "except that you never stopped fighting, even when no one saw it." He stepped forward, eyes soft. "And I never stopped wanting to protect this place. Or you." 3 days later, the old meeting hall in town was full. Jasper stood at the front, no tie, sleeves rolled, a man with nothing to prove but everything to protect. Behind him, a board covered in maps, corporate trails, and shell companies, all pointing to one man, Reed Eastland. "These aren't offers," Jasper told the room. "They're threats, wrapped in contracts. I've seen this before. I was silent once. I won't be again." He dropped a folder onto the table. "These are legal injunctions. I'll cover the cost. I just need you to stand with us." For a moment, no one moved. Then someone stood, then another, and another. By the end of the hour, they had enough signatures to stall Reed's plan. But they all knew that Reed would not go quietly or give up without a fight. That night, the ranch was too quiet. Savannah paced, flashlight in hand. Jasper sat in the barn, sharpening a blade. His eyes never left the door. Then they heard the sound of engines. 3 trucks with their headlights off approached. Jasper stood up and grabbed the shotgun. He handed Savannah a walkie-talkie. "Go to the back and call the sheriff," he told her. "I'm not leaving you," Savannah said. "I'm not asking." He responded, but she didn't go. They stood side by side. Reed's voice rang out from the dark. "Come on out, Callahan. We both know you don't scare me." Jasper stepped into view and responded, "You should be scared of what's right." "You think paperwork's going to stop me?" Reed snarled. "No," Jasper replied, "but witnesses will." Sirens echoed in the distance. Reed cursed. "You called the cops?" "Number." "She did," Jasper said, nodding to Savannah as she stepped into the light, rifle raised. Reed lunged. One gunshot cracked through the silence. He fell. Sirens arrived seconds later. Flashing lights, screaming tires. It was over. For now. Jasper's injuries were minor, and it got adequate care. But Savannah noticed how he winced when he thought she wasn't looking, how he stared at the horizon longer than usual, and how he smiled every time she handed him coffee without asking. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, she found him by the fence, brushing Dusty with gentle strokes. "You're going to spoil her," Savannah said, smiling. "She deserves it," he whispered. "We all do." She sat beside him. "Have you ever thought about what would come next?" "Every day," he responded. He looked at her, eyes steady. "I used to build empires, projects, deals. But now?" He looked out at the land. "I just want to build something that lasts. Something honest, something quiet." She swallowed and replied, "You have." He reached into his pocket, pulled out a simple worn box. Inside was a silver ring. It was not a flashy ring. Jasper didn't kneel to propose. He whispered to Savannah in a very emotional voice, "I haven't loved in years, ever since the incidents with my late fiancé, and I didn't think I ever would ever love again. But spending these few days with you changed my mind. I bought this ring yesterday. Please come to my home with me. Let us make a home together." Savannah's breath caught as his words hung in the quiet air between them. He just stood there with his heart in his eyes. He continued softly, "I didn't think I ever would love again. Not like this. Her eyes filled with tears, not from fear, but from the strange comfort of being truly seen. It's only been 3 weeks that we have known each other, Savannah whispered. But somehow you felt like home from the very start. He reached for her hand, holding it like something fragile and precious. Time doesn't measure love, Savannah. I've built empires, but nothing ever filled the emptiness in me until I met you. Come with me to my home and give me a chance to love you. She blinked, letting a tear slip free as her heart said yes long before her lips did. Then let's not waste another moment, she whispered. She blinked back tears. I don't need a church, he said. I just need you, and the sound of your boots on the porch every morning. She laughed through the tears, then nodded and said, yes. 1 year later, the hills bloomed. Laughter echoed from the barn. Horses roamed free. A new sign hung at the gate, written, Harrison Ridge, where it all began. Savannah stood on the porch, her infant daughter tucked close to her chest. Across the field, Jasper, slower now but steady, walked beside a boy learning to ride. This wasn't just a ranch anymore. It was a refuge for anyone who'd forgotten how to breathe. And for Savannah and Jasper, it was a proof. Proof that even when the road is long, even when the past is loud, you can still choose to stay, still choose to love, still choose to come home. Sometimes the most powerful love stories are not born from grand gesture or perfect beginnings, but from broken pieces, rebuilt slowly with steady hands and quiet hearts. Savannah and Jasper didn't just find each other. They found healing, purpose, and a beautiful home built with love. Because love, real love, is not about who you were, it's about who you choose to become together. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to Chetnal's Graceful Narratives. We bring you heartfelt tales to warm up your hearts. Until the next one, stay kind and graceful.